In the beginning of this week's Parsha, the Torah discusses the famous incident of Pinchas famously killing the Jewish man and the Moabite woman. And immediately following this particular incident, the Torah goes on to count and enumerate the different shvatim of the Bnei Yisrael. Rashi in the beginning of Sefer Bamidbar says that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu counts the Bnei Yisrael, it's mipnei chivaso shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's because of the love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has towards the Bnei Yisrael. But if that's the case, then one needs to ask a very simple question. What is it specifically about the action of counting that shows love? How is it that through counting the Jewish people, Hashem shows His love towards the Jewish people? What is it about counting? A number of years ago, when I was in the army, so when you first join the army, it's very common for your commanders to give you almost like meaningless tasks. When I say meaningless, I mean like the result of the task is irrelevant. It doesn't matter, right? What the result of the task is. That's not why you're trying to do or complete the task. The whole point of the task being given to you is purely to see that you are obedient and listen to the commands of the commander. And very often, what the commanders would do is they would give you these tasks, and they would basically say that the entire machlaka, the entire group of soldiers, would need to finish this task within the allotted amount of time. And if they finished it, so then they could move on. But if they did not finish the task, and we're not staying in rows of threes, as was the norm, so then they would give you another task and another task till you were finally able to complete the task. And I remember it was really in my first few days of the army, and a lot of this was going on. There were many different commands that we were given, again, not for the sake of the result of the command, rather just for the sake of seeing whether or not we were able to be obedient, good soldiers. And there was one particular kid in the unit who was having a relatively tough time, and he was having a hard time keeping up. He always found himself not being able to get back in line on time. He always found himself not being able to complete the task, and as a result, our entire machlaka, our entire group of soldiers, we were constantly doing more and more tasks, until it got to the point when there was one soldier that came to the commander and said, "Listen, I understand that we need to help one another and we need to be there for one another, but this is ridiculous. Why is it that every single one of us is being punished for one soldier?" And the commander looked at this particular soldier and said to him, "You know, if we were in Gaza right now, would you say, just leave him behind? He's only one soldier?" No. Every single soldier is important. The reason that counting shows Hashem's love is because we count things that mean things to us. We count things that are important to us. If I were to give you 100 pieces of paper with nothing on them and told you to count them, would you count them carefully? No. But if I were to give you $100 bills and asked you to count them, you would count every one carefully. Additionally, in order to count, in order to get from 1 to 2, you need to go by one. You need to pass by 1 and then by 2. In order to get to the final overall number, every single number along the way means something. Every single number along the way matters. You know, we're in camp right now. We're approaching our very first Shabbat of the second session of camp. And I think that this is a message that we all need to remember. Every single chanich, chanicha, madrich, madricha, we all matter. Every Tzevet member, every member of every facet of camp, we all matter. We all need one another in order to create the greatest camp experience that we possibly can. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, my bracha is that we should really be able to unite. We should really be able to see every single person for the unique being that they are. And Be'ezrat Hashem, through this, we should be able to have an unbelievable rest of camp. Shabbat Shalom from Moshava Alavi.